Hey folks, welcome to the channel, and in this case talking about tape, your duct tape or other varieties of tape, the 1,000 uses that these things have. This is just one example which I think ended up quite neat. This is a sheath I made for this, ironically enough, super expensive bussy knife and dirt cheap duct tape sheath. What a combination. But you know what? Over the years, this thing has been with me and it's still holding and staying strong. It's not only been with me, it's been with me over different countries, lots of things. I mean, I use this knife every once in a while. It's not my main beater or anything like that, but as you see, every once in a while with a little bit of care, I do use it. This, paint does come off rather easily, but it's been moved a lot, going from one place to the other, luggage and that sort of thing, and it's still here. And the way this was built, it's simply one of these paper, laminated, plastic laminated paper from a writing pad of some sort that I had a while back, and using those covers, I just laminated that that's laminated cardboard with the duct tape itself, folded it over a few times just to make it a little bit more resistant, especially worried about this cutting through, which could eventually happen. For now, not the case, but wrapping it around, reinforcing it a little bit more, and with the same technique of laminating the cardboard first, I did the belt loop, and after a number of years now, it is still here. And yes, you can make your own sheath with Kydex and a bunch of other things, PVC, melting it and so on with a heat gun. This is just dirt cheap. This is super fast. It costs nothing and gets the job done. I mean, an even crappier version of this would be simply cardboard folded over and the cheapest tape you have covering it over. And again, this has sustained an incredible amount of use over the years. This is something I do. Probably I beat this thing a lot more, as you can tell, than this, and yet I haven't been bothered to do a proper sheath for this knife, which for me this is a beater. So no, I don't need. I'm not taking it in fancy voyages or anything like that. It's just lying around and you just want something. And as it got crappier and more broken in, like the pieces of tape kind of catch there, and it actually has better retention than that one. And again, it's cardboard, so is it gonna be resisting weather and rain? No, but it's simply not there. It's gonna be in a shed in one place or another, indoors. But even in sheds, or even with a little bit of light rain, it's no big deal. It's still holding on. So my point is, tape is awesome. You want to have a lot of it. And yeah, usually when you think of tape, you think of 3M tape. It's like one of the standard tapes you have, and I have a lot of it. And I mean, I have tons of tape. It's kind of like an obsession that whenever I see it on sale, I just have to grab a couple. So you have in different colors, black, gray, typical thing. And yeah, this just does very well. This is the go-to tape, duct tape for prepping, survival, and so on. So you want to have different rolls of this stuff, and for EDC and kits, maybe just like a foot or it wrapped in a big lighter. This is very convenient. It is just the perfect shape for it, just barely fitting and making this a little bit more chunky, but still very much working. And you have a good amount of inches of duct tape, which will no doubt come in handy one day. I use these things fairly often, even in these little kits, or maybe in a travel bag that I have. I will drop one of these in there, and soon enough it will come in handy for something. I end up using maybe the tape more than the actual lighter. I don't smoke. Other than burning something or little things, you don't use it a whole lot. Now the tape, the tape is pretty useful. You can go with a more crappier value type of tape, it says nothing. And I've had a number of these over the years. In my experience, it's a hit and miss. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. So that's why I prefer to just buy 3M tape when I come across it in sale. You know, when it's being sold for a couple bucks or something like that, I just grab some. Because this, I mean, I've had some of this being okay. I've had some of this that after a few weeks or maybe a couple months, whatever it is that I was using it for, it's just peeling off, or the glue just it starts getting loose, or it becomes brittle, or something going on. So again, when possible, go with 3M. And then there's also a case for the crappy, common, ordinary tape like this one, the transparent one, or the brown one. This, as you saw in that sheath I made, it has its uses, and yeah, sure, for boxes and such, of course. One of the things that you want to keep in mind is one of the uses tape has is if you have to seal a house. Looking at the worst case scenario, I mean, it could be fallout, volcanic ash, or whatever it is, and you have to seal the house from the exterior. That's going to be requiring a heck of a lot of tape, and maybe you can get away with this, but the 3M one is going to be better. My point is, have a variety of all of it, especially the more affordable stuff. No reason not to stock up. And the nicer one you probably want to keep for kids. I usually prefer more bright colors. You can go with a more camo or olive, drab, green color. But for small things like these, I'd rather have the more visibility. It is true that if you're fixing something, this does look a little bit more crappier, I mean very visible, and maybe that you can get away with. So black, green, those may be options for you if that's the potential need you find yourself maybe using it one day for. What's the best tape money can buy if you want to go premium, let's say? And there's also a case about even if you can buy tons of fancy, more expensive tape, I would still recommend having a lot of 3M, because it's that middle ground of it's not as thin as this, but it's nimble and thin enough to do other things. But if you want like the top of the line tape, Gorilla Tape is the way to go. I don't know if there's anything newer, fancier, or cooler, but this roll, and I have a couple more down around the house, this has been with me for years. And one of the things you see is that quality after years, you can tell. Not only is it thicker, and it's going to be stronger, visibly thicker, it's like a damn tarp, as thick as it is, the glue just holds on a lot better. So if I have to make a repair that I want to maybe count on for a long time, I don't use 3M. I use this stuff. And it's usually little things, some plastic switch, or I mean anything that I want to make sure I have the best shot of that holding on for a long period of time. This is what I use. This is more of the middle ground kind of tape. So fancy tape, Gorilla Tape. More average general purpose 3M, and then you have the cheap stuff. Another tape that I think is worth considering is this refracting mirror looking tape. Again, 3M, just one roll of these, and this you use for a few things. For example, I have it like in different kits, or for example in my knife, my Glock knife, which is my go-to beater survival knife. And yes, you see stuff that I have here, convenient, and I just place a little bit of that underneath, wrapped under the paracord. So this is all very blacked out, but if you want to have something that has more reflection, you just remove the paracord, and you can use that quite effectively to reflect light, actually pretty effectively so. And if you want to be more technical about it, you can actually drill a hole through it, which will not matter in your Glock sheath, but drilling a hole, you can probably find that reflection and use it as a proper signaling tool, which is the way they usually come with that hole in the middle, just to look through and see that reflection and actually know where you're aiming at with the lights. So yeah, and I've done some survival kits in the past, so that the tins, right, like a fancy Altoids tin, but it's not an Altoids, but a little bit of a bigger one. I did some of those kits years ago. They turned out quite nice, man. They just flew. I sold those like within a couple days. And in those kits, I use some of this tape so as to have a mirror inside. And you could actually see your own reflection. Not here because of how curved it is, but in a nice flat metal surface, it actually works as a decent enough mirror to see if you have maybe some wound in your face or something in your eye. So that's quite cool. That's very nice and a useful tip. The other kind of tape, last one that I use quite a bit of, is your ordinary paper tape, and you use this for painting stuff in the house, repairs, and not really repairs, but for more of that utilitarian thing of painting stuff and masking tape and so on. But it also has, for shooters, it has that thing of, this is your range tape. Paper tape is what you see people have in their range bags a lot of. So you use it for hanging targets or sticking targets here and there. It's not as messy as 3M, and definitely is a lot cheaper. And also you just cut pieces and you patch up the targets. So, and again, in different parts of the world, in different clubs and shooting ranges, you still see that shooters will usually have their roll of paper tape. You can go thicker, but this is about the size of a hole, a 9mm hole that you would have to patch up. So it's a nice patching tape for covering targets again. And again, for putting your name on stuff and things that it's not it's not going to be as long term, and but you want to make mark something, or just a ton of uses for practical stuff, especially when it comes to shooting. Guys, that's basically it. That's the advice I have in terms of tape and what I have to say about that. Remember that if you want to learn more about all of this stuff, especially the EDC gear and all of that stuff, street survival skills, and the economic aspect of preparedness, surviving the economic collapse. See you on the next one, guys. Take care.